Hey guys, welcome to the Musings of Maverick channel. I'm your host Maverick, and today we are starting a new anime series, Love of Kill, Koroshi. So, for any of you guys who are new here, let me just give you a quick rundown of how I do my videos. Typically, I will divide them into 3 different parts. At the beginning will be my introduction section, or sort of like a recap section from the last episode. In the middle will be my blind reaction section, of course, and then at the very end, I will have what I call my musing section, where I talk a little bit more about what happened in the episode, how things are going, various concepts, or some run-of-the-mill things. If there's any references that they make, I will maybe sometimes go on a tangent on that part, or anything. I try to predict things as well, like how exactly it goes, and things of that nature, right? So different people have different interests and whatnot. Some people are here for reactions, some people are here for the more sort of review portion, but they'll all be timestamped below for your convenience. So with that being said, let's get into the introduction of this series, right? Koroshi I, or as the English translation is, Love of Kill. So, this particular work, it's the general story idea. It's not exactly something new, right? We have basically an assassin and a bounty hunter, and the sort of love and hate or whatnot. The relationship, kind of like romance between these two, as well as a story progression as well. It definitely reminds me a lot of the sort of like male spy, female spy, and then working together, that kind of spy versus spy kind of story setting. It's used a lot in a lot of films, movies, etc., etc. How it actually works as an anime series, or indeed this was adapted from a manga, right? How exactly it works for a much more longer running kind of story. That's something I'm curious about, like how it continues to capture the attention of the readers, of the viewers. I do know that it is based, the manga it's based on is actually a josei manga, which means that it's more aimed towards the female population. And indeed, checking out some of the reviews or some of the things that people are talking about in regards to the manga, I feel like a lot of people are those that are discussing it are predominantly female-oriented. But that's not to say that we can't have an interesting story here, right? Definitely just looking at the main 2 characters. The male lead, I'm kind of on the fence about him, right? He definitely looks, and his name and his looks definitely give me Korean vibes, so maybe we're gonna have like sort of a cross-culture relationships or something of that sort. Whereas the female lead, she looks, and her name is definitely much more Western, European or whatnot. But no, I guess that's just part of the charm as well, right? Beyond that, I don't really know too much about this work. Definitely one of the main reasons I am watching this particular adaptation is because of the voice actors and voice actresses. The male lead is voiced by Shimono-san, who has done lots and lots of stuff. He's like a veteran of the industry for 20 years already, still going strong and whatnot, lots and lots of fans. But for me personally, one of the main reasons that I am taking a look at this is because the female lead is voiced by one of my favorite female voice actors or voice actresses, Onishi Saori, right? I love her voice, and actually I love her as a person herself. Like, she's insanely funny. And if you guys are interested at all for voice actor or voice actress content, I highly recommend you guys check out their YouTube videos. Like, they are doing like a complete sort of tangentially related program related to the characters, related to the entire concept of like like assassins versus bounty hunter, and it features instead the voice actors and voice actresses themselves, right? It's on YouTube. It's in Japanese, but I do recommend you guys check it out. It's really, really hilarious. Beyond that, yeah, not really too much else to add at this point. I suppose we should just get into it and see what exactly the story is, what exactly their interaction is like. I will be honest, after looking at the promotional videos, it didn't really exactly give me too much confidence in terms of its animation style and whatnot, but we'll see, right? Maybe the story, maybe their interactions are going to be interesting. Let's find out together. Alright, with all that being said, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, this part is actually part of the promotional videos. Right, this is sort of like a boy meets girl kind of situation. Where we have our two main characters meeting each other. And here's our male lead. And our female lead. I definitely thought that this scene made no sense. Like, you already have a gun trained on him. Why the hell do you feel the need to instantly get another gun out of, like, your blouse or something? If anything, I would have expected her to use both hands to hold the gun. But, anime logic. Okay, I do believe that the setting is that she is a relatively new bounty hunter. Kimi no namae wa? Yeah, hitting on girls in the middle of a life or death situation. You gotta flop this guy, right? He's got a good point, though. In his profession, he probably doesn't see, cute girls all that much, right? As an assassin. Oh. Okay. Nice. A little bit of jazzy feel. Definitely gives off much more like spy vibes versus assassin and bounty hunter. Well, I guess bounty hunter works for this, right? But assassin, this seems a little bit too upbeat for like an assassin story. Okay. What's your name? Oh yeah, yeah. Well, actually, I guess not exactly on the promotion video, but some of the other. Oh, yeah. Her name is Chateau. I wonder if she likes to drink wine. I remember this guy's. Yeah, he has a very interesting dialect. Right, it wasn't part of the promotional videos, but I actually saw part of this already in like one of the special programs that they did to promote this. Yep, that dude right there. Still hitting on her. Gotta give it to the dude. He's relentless. I guess assassins do make good stalkers, right? Definitely doesn't like to say much. Oh, that's the dude. Yep. Oh, Santokai are like a Chinese mafia. I mean, if it is the one that I'm thinking about, I'm not sure if it's the exact name in Japanese. Or maybe it's making a reference to the famous Chinese mafia group. Now, again, this would make a great premise as a movie, right? As in like a standalone movie and whatnot. She's gonna be like, I already have an insight track. This dude. uh, You. Yeah, a lover's quarrel when somebody has a taser on her. That has got to be infuriating. Hmm. I mean, you already know he's good, right? Because she's on a date. By the way, I do kind of wonder, like, where exactly this place is based on. I mean, it's quite obvious it's not Japan. All right. Now, all jokes aside, though, I do think this guy has something that he wants from Chateau. Like some deeper connection that he has with her. What? Oh my god. Shoto, I'll punch the guy for you. Good question, actually. That's true. That's an expensive bottle of wine. But anyways, going back to what I was saying though, you would think that with all these contracts out on the dude, he wouldn't really be able to just walk around in broad daylight. But this dude. Yeah, I guess if you didn't know anything, you'd definitely think, ah. Hmm? Okay, here we go, here we go. Now here's the backstory. Alright, the music is also getting like quite... I know, having this tragic feeling, oh, it's little chateau. It's Lolly Chateau. Just like that? Okay. That's interesting, I guess. Is that? Oh. Don't tell me these two were childhood friends. Well, actually, I think there's a difference in age here. But I think in any case, they're implying that these two knew each other 17 years before, something like that. Or who knows, maybe in the end it's just gonna be like, okay, they each had some sort of childhood trauma, and so that's how they can bond. I guess that's also a possibility. And I guess that's just for us to figure out. Right, I think this is like preview for next episode. So, yep, I'll see you guys after this. Alright, that was the first episode of Love of Kill, and, yeah, I guess it is quite intriguing at this point in time, right? I've said at the very beginning that, I do feel like this sort of setting, you know, we got a bounty hunter versus an assassin, and there apparently seems to be some sort of, you know, unknown history between them, that perhaps even, either of them don't even know themselves, right? You know, that does make for an interesting premise here. It's just how exactly it can, you know, it can stretch out this sort of premise all the way for many episodes and many chapters. That's the part that I'm interested in, right? Again, if we look at it from a movie length or whatnot, 2 hours, 3 hours, or maybe near 3 hours of this kind of story, I think it's fine. How exactly are they going to keep it interesting? Well, I guess one part that is quite interesting, even just from here early on, is definitely in this sort of interaction between Song Liang-ha, you know, our main guy, versus Chateau-chan, right? How, especially, well, for one thing, he does, our guy is quite infuriating, right? I think nobody will give any doubts about that. You know, lucky for him, he's pretty good looking, so he gets a slight pass there. But definitely for me, though, one of my favorites is in how Chateau reacts to what the guy is doing. You know, if it's just like, you know, just her normal self, like being cold and all that, being unresponsive, you know, that's no fun, right? I think definitely the most interesting and to me, the funniest scene was definitely that scene there where, you know, they were out on their supposed date, and the guy was like, hey, do you have any interest in jewelry or whatnot? And then later on, he saw, hey, actually, you do show an interest because you had your ears pierced before, right? That look that Chateau had at that point, you know, that half embarrassment, half blushing, half irritated look. Well, actually, I guess you wouldn't say half, like half embarrassed and half irritated kind of look. That was quite cute. I love this sort of gap moe, I guess you could say, where, you know, a normally very cold or very calm character gets flustered like that. You know, it's just things that I like, right? So I was definitely very pleased with that, and I do hope to see more of that kind of reaction from Chateau in the future, right? So let's talk a little bit about the backstory at this point, right? Or at least as much as we know. So Chateau, her parents were probably killed very early on. Maybe that resulted in some sort of PTSD for her. So she turned out to be this kind of unresponsive kind of girl. Or it could also be a case where this was just her personality in the first place, right? And heck, we don't even really know if those were her parents or not. So I guess there's a question mark there. We'll probably learn more in the next episode, or perhaps this is going to be a case where all these various hints and clues and whatnot are going to be distributed throughout various episodes, and we learn a little bit more about Chateau, and we learn a little bit more about Liang Ha. As time goes on, right? So, not really too much knowledge about what Chateau is doing at this point. We know that she's a bounty hunter, and we know that she's performing, quite decently, quite admirably at this point in time, although whether or not that's due to Song Liang-ha basically watching over her, that remains to be seen, right? And definitely what is her motivation for becoming a bounty hunter, that's also a big question mark as well. Like, normal people, even if they are... I mean, it doesn't seem like she was raised up in some sort of very harsh environment, or, raised up to be a part of the underworld gang or something of that sort. So this is definitely some kind of conscious decision that she made, right? So what drove her to do this? Is it because she wants to find out about her past or something of that? Like, what motivates her, right? And that is definitely one big question that we need to ask going forward. And then, of course, Song Liang-ha as well, right? I do believe that when they were talking about the Sentokai, they are, the organization that they were talking about, that he was originally a part of, that's most probably a play on Sangokai, which is the triads in the triad. I guess you would call it the triad mafia or whatnot. It's basically the organized crime organization, right? Like in the U.S. you got the American mafia, in Italy you got the Italian mafia and that kind of stuff. In Japan you typically have the Yakuza, right? In basically, I guess you'd say, like in China, in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, right? One of the biggest, most prominent organized crime, or I guess the umbrella term for these organized crime gangs is the triads. It's actually a quite complicated kind of organization, which I'm not going to get into right here. There's various different offshoots and branches of the triads, and indeed, there's a difference between if it's a Chinese triad from China, or Taiwanese one from Taiwan, or a Hong Kong one, which I think is probably the most famous at this point in time, the Hong Kong triads, and what is their relationship with each other and all that sort. It's really complicated, right? But I'm pretty sure that they are making a reference to that here, which is, the triads are like the biggest organized crime group in basically East Asia, if you will. And so basically they're saying that this dude is strong enough to take out, like, imagine just one guy taking down the entirety of the Italian mafia, or one guy wiping out the top brass of the Yakuza, right? That's the that's the scale that we're talking about at this point in time. So definitely I would not be surprised that a lot of organizations are out to look for and try to kill this dude. I think it's a miracle, to be honest, that he's even walking directly, like in broad daylight, on the streets, because you do something of that kind of magnitude, you've got like thousands of people looking at you. I mean, they even mentioned themselves that there's over 20 organizations putting out a bounty for this dude, right? So how exactly is this work? How exactly does this work? Why can he actually, still be walking around? I guess he's just that good, right? I mean, anime logic, don't question it. But that's what we know about him so far. Is he Chinese? Is he Korean? Or his ethnicity or whatnot? Hard to say. You could also, I guess you could make the argument that it's Chinese, but typically Song Liang-ha, that kind of name is much more Korean, right? So I guess it doesn't really matter, to be honest, because we know that Chateau is not exactly Japanese either, and heck, we don't even really know where exactly this story is in. It seems much more European in nature, right? And considering that Chateau is called Chateau, I would say it's more European in nature as well, but that of course remains to be seen. But hey, that's what we know about these two characters at this point. Again, we'll probably know more, learn more about them as time goes on. Looking at the ending, it seems that they were sort of implying that perhaps something happened 17 years ago for to Liang Ha and to Chateau respectively, so that they maybe cross paths sometime in the past or something of that sort. But yeah, I guess we shall see as time continues on, right? What else from this episode? Again, I'm not all that impressed in terms of the action, if you will, or you know, what little there is of it. The way that they handle the guns, the way that they handle the hand-to-hand combat and whatnot. I'm sort of kind of iffy at that point. I keep on thinking it's like, even from the very beginning of this show, right, where we see Chateau going up against Liang Ha. You know, she had like, you know, one-handed gun like right there, fully extended arm as well. You know, whatever. We're not exactly looking at this for realism, right? But still, I would have preferred if we had a little bit more in grounded kind of setting instead of this, which is much more kind of fantasy-like. You know, you're shooting bullets almost point blank, and the other guy is dodging it, and then even managing to disarm the girl and whatnot. Or maybe, I guess you could also argue that maybe they're implying that Chateau is really not all that skilled in that. Maybe. Or maybe Liang Ha is just that superhuman, right? But anyways, I highly doubt that that's going to be a major, you know, like a major part of the series. But hey, it's hard to say, right? I don't think this is just going to be like drama and romance and whatnot. I mean, you have this sort of setting where you're literally dealing with the underworld. You're literally dealing with two people whose backgrounds are of the more dubious kind of nature, right? So I would suspect that, you know, these sort of gunfights and infiltrations and these sort of like spy work and intelligence and counterintelligence operations and whatnot would still be a big part of the story. So hopefully, you know, we can have a better showing from now on to get into some more into some stuff that is much more grounded in reality, because, you know, I do have an interest in that kind of stuff. So I do wish for that to be a little bit more prominent as well. So I think that's pretty much it for this first episode. So thank you guys, and hopefully I will see you guys continuing on as well. I'm definitely intrigued, if nothing else. So hopefully you guys are as well, and I will see you guys next time next week. Stay tuned, guys. Bye bye.